It's official, guys. I am turning 30 really soon. And even though a lot of people dread turning this age, I can't help but feel grateful for everything I've learned up to this point and how much wiser I became because of it. Of course, I'm still trying to figure out my life every single day, but I figured since it's new and nice and fresh in my mind, I would make a video about the 7 most important things that I wish I knew earlier in my 20s, so that it could hopefully help you in your own self-development journey if you're feeling a little lost and unsure. So the most important thing I want to start off with is that your 20s is not about figuring out your life. It's about figuring out yourself. Like, at least for me, throughout my 20s, I felt like I always had to do to succeed in life. I couldn't be lazy because I needed to catch up or get ahead of the crowd. But I really wish someone had told me, slow down, you're only 20. This is the time to mess up and be okay with that. And you have a bunch of time to figure it all out. Like, are we doing the things we want to do? Do I even like what I'm doing? We wouldn't know the answers to these questions unless we have a lot of experiences and lessons to learn from. Now, I'm not saying go out and be wild and dangerous, but when we start doing these things intentionally, we'll start finding the things that inspire us, that makes us happy, and we'll also find out the things that just drain our energy. It's not a matter of doing a bunch of things to figure out our lives ASAP. It becomes more about understanding who we are so that we can then use that information to start doing the things that matter to us. Number 2, you can't change anyone. They have to want the change for themselves. So there were and are times now where all I want to do is care for other people. I want to help them go through whatever they're going through by saying the right things, by giving them advice, and I want them to take it seriously and implement it in their own life because everything that I'm telling them worked for me. And now that I'm older, I've learned that it's really not my place at all to tell someone how to live their own life because I wouldn't want them doing that to me. What we have to keep in mind is that we're all on our own personal and spiritual journeys. So the only thing I have control over is whether or not I choose to stick around, not dictate the way that I think they should be living. That's why sometimes when we tell someone the same thing a million times, if they're not open to hearing it, or if they're not at that part of their journey yet, they'll start resenting you and or get super defensive. And from my experience, that will only hurt the relationship you have with them. So I've learned that people are very empowered in making their own decisions and doing things their own way. And instead of us being stressed out and trying to force our opinions on other people, all we can do is be there for them, give help whenever we can, and that'll hopefully encourage them to make better decisions for themselves. Number 3, the outer world is a reflection of your inner world. And the things that trigger you are pointing you to the things that you still need to heal inside of you. When I had depression, I couldn't understand my emotions at all. Like, I didn't know what I was feeling or if I was feeling anything. And in an effort to understand my emotions better, I was trying to look to people or other situations to do it for me. I wanted them to understand me. And when they didn't, I victimized myself. I kept saying, no one understands me. And it's like, how are they able to understand me if I'm not able to even understand myself, you know? Like, when I started understanding myself a little more, understanding my emotions, then I was able to communicate that to other people. Then they were able to understand me better. I had healed that part of me. And even though it might show up in my world today, as long as I learned that part of me, then it doesn't really affect me as negatively as it did in the past. We'll see and understand that the outer world is just acting as a mirror to show us the parts of ourselves that we still need to heal. We can start working on healing those things as opposed to victimizing ourselves. That's how we're gonna live a more meaningful life. Number 4, healing can be really lonely and there will always be people who leave your life. That's a normal part of growing. You're losing people to gain the ones that actually matter. So as you're getting better and you're doing better for yourself, There are going to be people who only had common interests with the old, unhealed version of you. And humans are scared of change. Like, a lot of us like to live in a comfortable, predictable setting because that means that our environment is safe. So when you start changing, those people can see you changing as a threat. They'll get uncomfortable, and unfortunately, as a part of life, they'll leave. To feel better about the lonely parts of this journey, I just had to be okay with that. I myself cannot control who stays and who treats me well. I can only live as honestly and openly as I can. I know that with time that I'll be able to connect with people who also have the same goals and are on the same path as me by being exactly the way that I am. Number 5, everything happens at the right time for a reason, whether you can see it or not. This famous quote by Steve Jobs explains this point really well. And it goes, "You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards." So in my early 20s, I lost a really close loved one. And not to put a positive spin on it to say that everything happens for a reason, I couldn't see it at the time, but that loss would come to teach me true vulnerability, having empathy and love for others, and giving to others in the form of service. So anything you experience in life, whether it's rejections in jobs or breakups or whatever, they could actually be blessings in disguise to open up the parts of you that were always hidden so that you can eventually become the person that you were always meant to be. Those painful experiences not only helped me practice my patience, but I believe that they redirected me onto the right path from what I thought I knew and wanted to living a much more fulfilling life than I could have imagined for myself before. So no matter what you go through in life, just remember that it's temporary. And these more negative or painful experiences are not there to hurt you, but instead they could just be a redirection onto the right path of where you're meant to always go. Number 6, love is a choice. Love at its true core is unconditional. And I feel like I didn't really understand this in my 20s. In our life, we're gonna love significant others, family, friends, even our jobs. But if we zoom out and look at the bigger picture, that love that we have for them is always a choice. We choose to listen to them. We choose to put in time and effort in forming those connections because they mean something to us. They're important to us. And you don't just truly love something just because it's everything you've ever imagined and it makes you feel good. True love takes time and effort, and it can get pretty hard. It's gonna be hard in the sense that you're still gonna have to put in effort. So don't base it off of the feeling you have or how hard it's gonna be. It has to be based off of whether you think it's important enough to stay. And the fact that you choose it over and over again, to experience it day in and day out, is the very definition of true love. Number 7, life is in the present moment. We spend most of our time worrying about the past or being worried about the future, but really all we have in life is the second that we have right now. So thank you for sharing it with me. The only way I was living life before was through my anxious thoughts. I thought that was normal, that it almost felt like life was just flying by. My life changed when I realized that the past and the future don't really exist unless it's in my mind. I'm spending most of my time replaying the painful memories or clinging to the happy ones, or I'm imagining future scenarios that usually never happen, and I'm voluntarily doing that to myself. So when I became aware of this, I tried to stay focused as best as I could in the present moment, either through meditation, breathing, deep listening skills, and I'm still trying to practice it every single day. It's gotten a little easier, but not that too much easier, you know? But I think the most important part is the awareness of it all. So I hope that you guys found this video to be helpful, and if you did, please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I love you and I appreciate it so much. Bye!